Hello, welcome to Dundrell's podcast. I'm your host, Justin. So, apparently, I accidentally messed up my memory card, my one remaining memory card. I messed it up because apparently, if you take out the memory card, I accidentally pulled out the memory card in the menu in the middle of transferring files. It screws up the memory card, right? Which I don't even remember when I did that. I think that was a couple days ago. And apparently, when you do that, it kind of corrupts the memory card or whatever. Because I had just did my review for Jack Frost 1997, and that file it was showing up on the memory card, and it just disappeared. I tried transferring it to my computer, and then it just like disappeared on me. So it's like, what the fuck, man? It's not even showing up when I put the memory card back in the camera, right? So yeah, so we're gonna have to do this all over again, and hopefully it works. If it doesn't work, I'll put a thing that, due to technical issues, it might be a couple days before we can do another fucking Christmas month video. I fucking hate modern technology, man. It's like, something always has to go wrong. So, like, today we're reviewing a horror comedy film that was straight to video back in the day. Jack Frost, which is a 1997 film, right? Directed by Michael Cooney, not Clooney. Starring Christopher Allport as Sam, Scott Macdonald as Jack Frost, Shannon Elizabeth as Jill Metzner, Marsha Clark as Marla, Kelly Jean Peters as Sally, and Stephen Mendel is in the film, and so is Rob LaBelle, you'll know, he played like Dr. Manhattan's best friend in the Zack Snyder Watchmen film, which I love that movie. Some people hate it. I don't know. I thought it was good. Right. So the movie, it starts off where like you get like it starts off with this little girl who's obviously, you don't see these actors, by the way. You just see voiceover. It's just voiceover with like visuals, right? And like, she's like, obviously American, but for some reason has like a her uncle has a British accent, and like and she's like, asking her uncle on the night before Christmas a bedtime story, and he's like, what, like, scary or funny? And she's like, both. So he tell her creepy British uncle tells her the story of Jack Frost, right? And this apparently takes place the night before he's supposed to get executed, right? Which he tells her the story of Jack Frost, where he was a serial killer, going around killing people, killing like random people in like 12 different states, but he was caught because he was working at a bakery, and he thought it would be a good idea. It turns out, apparently he was inspired. Maybe he was probably inspired by Sweeney Todd or whatever, where he was starting to kill people and put their meat in like pies, right? Which made it very easy for the FBI to track him down, right? So like what happens? He goes on the run. Gets caught by our sheriff character, Sam, played by Christopher Allport, right? And where you see a flashback of that, right? And then the movie jumps to him getting transported in like one of those prisoner transport vans, right? which is being driven by a guy who looks a lot like Skull from like Power Rangers. You know, Skull, who is one of the bullies, right? Even though, like, you know, Skull and Bulk were probably like the ones that were the nerds that were getting bullied by the popular Power Ranger, by the popular characters, right, in that show. But like they were too stupid to realize that that they were the losers. I guess, I don't know. So like, yeah, what happens? The truck crashes. Sorry, a truck crashed into them because it's like it's a blizzard going on, right? And like apparently Jack Frost gets hit with this weird chemical, which is I don't even know where the fuck it was. Like I guess I wasn't paying attention if it was from the other truck or their van. I don't fucking know. He gets hit by this chemical bonding agent, which gets explained later on in the film by, like, you know, Rob LaBelle's character, who plays like a scientist, right? Where they were going to like, you know, experiment on Jack Frost before he died, right? Because they came up with this, and this is where, okay, this sounds like pretty cool. Like, this sounds like they would have made a good movie with this premise, where like where they made this chemical that in the off chance humanity ever gets, you know, killed, like wiped out, right, from like, you know, some kind of, for whatever reason, right, environmental or whatever, goes extinct, it would have, the chemical bonding agent would have bonded human DNA to inept material, in this case snow, right? And it would have made it so humanity could like come back, could be resurrected later on, right? But it doesn't just like, the snow doesn't just store Jack Frost's DNA. It allows Jack Frost to come back to life as a snowman, right? Which his powers are, he can create, like, you know, he can turn himself into liquid or snow, and which he uses to break into people's houses, right? And he can like he has like kind of like low level Iceman powers, where he can, like, you know, shoot like icicles and like, you know, shoot and like pop out icicles, right? So like, yeah, after he gets resurrected by the bonding agent, he becomes this killer snowman, who goes around killing people, and he goes to the small town where the sheriff is from, to get his revenge on the sheriff, right, and his family, right? Which he doesn't even go for the sheriff's family first. First off, he kills the bully that was bullying the sheriff's son, right? Which was a very hilarious death scene, because I'm like, why the fuck are these kids like sledding with old school sleds, right? The ones that have the blades, right? Because this was like, at this point, like, you know, snowboarding would have been popular, right? They did it so they could have a hilarious beheading scene, right? Where Jack Frost comes to life and pushes the Billy, who is the bully of Sam's kid, right? Pushes him in the path of a sled, and he gets his head cut off, which looks fake as fuck. Which is the mayor's son, if I think correctly, if I'm correct, right? Who was running this like snowman building contest, where, like, you know, where there's a hilarious scene where like Tommy, who is the boyfriend of Shannon Elizabeth's character Jill, who is the daughter of the mayor, right? Even though she's like a different ethnicity than her parents in the film, right? Um, like yeah, so like Tommy builds this snowman that's like a snow babe, right? He just builds like this like snowman with tits, right? And he goes to the sheriff. He tells the sheriff a terrible joke, which gets repeated by his dad, right? And gets used as like the end that gets used in the end of the film for the sheriff character to taunt the Jack Frost. Which the joke is like, what's the difference between snowman and snowwomen? And he's like, and the joke is like, snowballs, right? Which is such a dumb joke, but like it works at the end of the film, right? Yeah, like that. You find out that's like Shannon Elizabeth's character's boyfriend, right? Where yeah, like there's a scene where like the Billy gets killed, right? And it looks like the sheriff's son did it, but the sheriff's son is like, oh no, it was a snowman that did it, right? And like, speaking of snowman, there's Frigimon, and like at that point, like they really shouldn't have believed. Like the sheriff character probably shouldn't have believed his son. But it was the thing, he gave like a good excuse where it's like, like, Billy is like Billy looks like he's 18, and the sheriff's son looks like he's like 10 or 12 or whatever. He's like 2 feet taller than the kid. It's kind of hard to believe that he could, like, this small kid could push Billy into the path of this sled, right? Which if he did do that, push it. Like, that would have been an accident, obviously, but whatever, right? And that's the thing where we would have needed Mythbusters to be like, okay, can an old school sled get enough momentum to actually behead somebody? Which I am betting no, but whatever, right? Yeah, so what ends up happening is the Jack Frost character, it's not bad enough that he kills Billy, but he has to go and kill Billy's family, who I felt really bad. Man, I hate I had to talk about this like a second time, because I mentioned this in my first review, where I felt really bad for the mayor in this film, because, like, the sheriff's kid is going to get, from his mind, like, the sheriff's kid killed his son, but like the sheriff's not going to do anything about it. So he just goes home and mourns, right? And he has this retarded wife who wants to still celebrate Christmas even though her son is killed. And he has this, she tells her husband, hey, turn on the lights on the Christmas tree. And he's like, our son's only been dead 4 hours and you want festivities, right? And then, like, if that's not bad enough, his slut of a daughter comes down and he's like, yeah, I'm going to go to Tommy's. It's like, bitch, your brother is dead and you're going to go fuck, you whore. Right? And, like, yeah, Jack Frost comes, kills Billy's parents, and then goes after Shannon Elizabeth. Right, where there's a hilarious scene where the movie makes, they already said that her character's 18, so there's this hilarious scene where she goes to Tommy and she gets undressed but doesn't, and there's like this montage because this sped up montage because it's winter, right? So they're wearing like a million layers, right? She gets down to her shirt and she's like unbuttoning her shirt, so there's like, the movie makes you think, oh, she's gonna get naked, right? And like, no, she does not. Which, you can always watch American Pie. Man, I remember being a kid when American Pie came out. I was like, dude, you gotta watch American Pie for this one scene, which is the webcam scene where Shannon Elizabeth gets naked. naked in front of the webcam, and like everybody, like the live feed from the webcam gets like shown to everybody's houses, and like you see like Blink-182, and it's like fucked up because that character was probably underage. The actress was not, but the character probably was, because it's like supposed to be high. Well, no, they're seniors in high school, so she might have been 18. We don't know. We don't know. Oh man. Was it Blink-182 in American Pie, or was that Sum 41? I think it was Blink-182. Right. Yeah, so like obviously at that point in the movie, they figure out that okay, there's like somebody's going around killing people, right? The sheriff character gets visited by the FBI. This guy who claims to be an FBI agent. I think you find out later that he's from the CIA, right? He's like a hitman for the CIA. Brings the scientist character to explain what Jack Frost is, right? Which, like I said, that the whole premise of the bonding agent would have made like a really great sci-fi like movie, where it's like, because it's like because the point of the bonding agent was it was supposed to resurrect people in the off chance of extinction, right? So like that would have made for a great movie, right? But it's used in this shitty straight to video horror comedy, right? So eventually they get Jack Frost kills a lot of our characters. The sheriff character has his final. They find out the Jack Frost's weakness, which at first you would think it was like fire or whatever, but he comes back after being melted. He comes back after being melted, right? Because that's one of his powers is he can turn into liquid, right? So they find out how to kill Jack Frost, which is with antifreeze, right? Which how they figure out it's antifreeze, I'm not even gonna explain. Apparently the kid made like oatmeal for his dad and put antifreeze in the oatmeal, and the oatmeal gets on Jack Frost and horrifically burns him, right? And it turns into a Brian Yuzda movie, because the parts of Jack Frost where he gets burned, it's all fleshy and gross. Man, it looked like something from Beyond. If you've ever seen that film. Oh man. So how they kill the Jack Frost character is like Jack Frost pins the sheriff against the wall, slowly stabs him to death with a protruding icicle, which was very grapey, if you know what I mean, like grape. And they set up a trap where they get like this truck bed filled with antifreeze, and the sheriff jumps out the second story window with Jack Frost, and they land in the antifreeze, which melts Jack Frost, right? Horrifically burns him. And this scene fucking reminded me of the Ed Wood movie that Tim Burton directed, where Ed Wood is trying to make a monster movie, but it's like a sea monster, tentacle monster that's supposed to be in this lake or whatever. I can't remember if the animatronic didn't work or they couldn't afford working animatronic. So he just had the actor splash around in the water with the dummy pretending it's the puppet was alive and shit. So there's a scene straight out of that movie in this movie where the sheriff is splashing around with this Jack Frost dummy in the truck bed filled with antifreeze, right? Yeah, so that's how the movie ends. So I don't know, I really enjoyed the movie. I thought, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, right? And, like, the Jack Frost character was basically, like, a combination of Chucky and Freddy Krueger, right? Yeah, like, and some of the kills were actually pretty good. And, like, I really like some of the jokes in the film, right? Especially some of the funny one-liners that, like, you know, Jack Frost would use when he was killing people. If you're a fan of schlocky horror comedies, like Thanksgiving, I think, you know, you would probably enjoy this movie, which this movie is a lot better, a competent made movie than Thanksgiving, honestly. Which, like, Thanksgiving 3, how the fuck that movie cost 110 grand when it looks cheap as shit. Like, I would have thought that movie had like a 20 grand budget, but this movie looks 100 times better than that movie, man. And this movie was a straight to video like movie, right? So I don't know, I enjoyed the movie and I would recommend it. And you can watch it on Tubi for free. And there was a sequel. I don't know if I'm gonna watch the sequel and review that. But yeah, I enjoyed it. So, like, the next movie we'll review is either going to be 8-Bit Christmas, the new, like, you know, Neil Patrick Harris Christmas movie, which apparently is on HBO Max, or Gingerdeadman with Gary Busey. We'll see. So yeah, so that's it for this video, guys. Hopefully you know, I'm able to, you know, upload this video. I don't know. I should just get a second. I should just go buy